How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Good. Awesome. It is really great to be back here at Tri C West. I spent a lot of hours in this building, the C building, so it's really cool to be back. A little bit about my background. My name is Dallas Riffle, and I'm the owner and founder of DRM. We're a full-service marketing agency based out of Fairview Park, Ohio. We work with a really broad spectrum of clients, but we're probably best known as the agency behind Melt Bar and Grill, if anybody here is into ridiculously enormous grilled cheese sandwiches. If you've seen any of their commercials on TV, we are behind all of that cheesiness. So I originally did attend University of Akron as a traditional drawing and painting major back in the mid-90s. But by the time the early 2000s had rolled around, I developed a pretty keen interest in digital and web design. That's when I decided I wanted to come back to school. And I had recently moved to the Cleveland area, so of course Tri C was on my radar, and I heard really good things about the VC&D program. And once I came here and talked with some counselors and took a tour and really experienced everything that Tri C has to offer, I was completely sold, and I knew it was the perfect next step on my educational path. And my experience here was completely fantastic, from the professors to the facility and the equipment. I learned more than I ever thought possible in just 2 short years here at Tri C, and they really positioned me very well for a future in marketing. I did graduate from Tri C in 2005, and I started as an intern with my former agency within a matter of months. And I was hired full-time as a graphic designer, multimedia guy, shortly thereafter, and eventually, after a few years, I became creative director. And although I did learn a lot and I gained a lot of valuable experiences during my time there, I had always known that I wanted to start my own agency and to do things my way. I was always looking for ways to improve the way we did things, our process, to get that streamlined, to land better clients, more fun clients. I really wanted to push our creative boundaries, and along the way I started a kind of top secret "what if I was in charge" Google Doc, and I kept adding to this document over the years that I was at my former agency. I kept kind of a repository of ideas and thoughts and philosophies, pretty much the DNA of my creative professional persona. So little did I know how valuable that Google Doc would be to future me. So, cut to early 2014, and I was suddenly presented with this incredible opportunity to strike out on my own when the agency suddenly sold all their accounts and closed up shop. And that left me with all the free time I need to get started building my own brands. Yay! So, that leads me to this evening's topic, and that is personal marketing as a creative. So, we've all heard this buzz phrase bandied about, but it is a very real thing. And for you guys, it can mean the difference between simply a job or a deeply satisfying career. Now, I'm a huge advocate for branding. The best marketing always starts with a strong brand. You can bolt the best creative onto a company, but if it's not rooted in the passion of a brand, it's really not going to resonate in the marketplace. So the same can be said for people. There's a tried and true process that we employ as an agency for launching a successful partnership with new clients. And while most of the parts of this process are no secret, it's incredible just how well that they can apply to professionals in really any industry, but especially in the creative world. For us, the first ingredient in a successful client relationship is utilizing what we call a client profile. Our intention with DRM is we want to seek clients with the potential for a long-term relationship. We're not really a one-and-done type agency. We want to be there for the long haul and be a client's one marketing source through the years. We want to deliver outstanding and effective work, and that really makes our time and our manpower investment well worth it in the end. So for a client to be a great fit for DRM, they're going to ideally meet the following basic requirements. So they're going to recognize the value of what we do. They're proactive about their brands, and they have an open mind. They're willing to trust and willing to eventually be fearless. And they're real people that we believe in, we can get behind, and be inspired by, get excited about. So finding these unicorn clients that fall within these parameters varies. Sometimes they land in your lap ready to go, Others can be converted, but I can see those that clearly don't fit the profile from a mile away. And for them, I am all too happy to make a referral. So if you ever get a referral from me, I either really like you or I lob a live grenade your way. So watch out, we might be frenemies. But back to how this applies to you as a creative professional. You can start your own client profile, so to speak. Make 2 lists. One list of the foundational qualities that make a great employee, freelancer, or business owner, whichever direction you're headed in, and one of your own biggest strengths. And then you cross-reference these 2 lists. You can identify where they overlap and where you can offer unique value. For example, you might end up, after you've done your cross-referencing, with the following profile. You can say, I'm highly creative and I can offer unique thinking. I'm a fast learner and adept at improving from failures. I manage expectations well. I typically under-promise and over-deliver. I thrive on challenges and I'm hungry to advance my career. Conversely, you can also take the opportunity to take some personal notes on areas that you might be lacking in. For example, you might identify that you need to check the ego and remember that there's always room to improve. You need to work on, say, time management skills. You need to prioritize projects more effectively. Or, this is a biggie, you need to work on taking criticism. A lot better than that time you quietly cried yourself to sleep after the portfolio review. So, back to DRM, once we've identified that a client is a good fit, we enter what's typically called the discovery process. This is my opportunity to hear this. Discovery process. That is, we do our due diligence to learn what makes them, and by extension their brand, special or unique. So our discovery process begins by deploying a creative brief, and that goes to 3 to 5 key members of the company's leadership team. We'll ask anywhere from 25 to even 50 or 60 questions, depending on the client and the projects at hand. For example, we might say, tell us about your core business. Why do you do what you do? What do you do better than any of your competitors? What adjectives would you use to describe your brand? How do existing and prospective clients perceive your brand? And how does that compare to how you'd like it to be perceived? And what are your short and long-term goals? Now, clients sometimes go from loving us to hating us during this involved and tedious process, but they usually come out on the other side with the confidence that we truly care about them and their brand and the added value that they've learned a thing or two about themselves, and many times they're revitalized and they've gotten back in touch with what got them started in the first place. And when they're in that mindset, they can use that information to improve their companies in a lot of different ways. So usually it ends up good on both sides of the street after that tedious process. In the case of Melt, we arranged a 1-hour meeting on a Friday evening with the owner, Matt Fish, who's also a Tri C grad. And he had a hand-picked group of about a dozen of his key managers from all the different locations and all the different levels of the organization. So we showed up at headquarters, we plunked down a digital audio recorder in the middle of the table and a couple of 6-packs, and we sat down and started asking questions. And 1 hour pretty quickly turned into 3, and by the end of the night there were a lot of laughs and a real sense of camaraderie and a feeling that we were now part of the Melt family. And the great thing about creative briefs is that they can allow you to discover the core of pretty much anything or anyone. You can compose a creative brief for yourself. Go through a personal discovery process, so to speak. Ask some fun questions, some tough questions, some probing questions. What made you want to be a creative? What motivates you to improve? What are your biggest weaknesses and fears? Sometimes it helps you identify those. What is it that fuels the fire in your belly? What are you passionate about? What are your values? If you were arrested with no explanation, what would your friends and family assume you had done? Pie or cake? Anything, any of these probing questions. So the net result of the DRM discovery process is the formation of what we call a brand DNA document. This document contains the genetic code for what makes a brand unique. It's text, it's photos, it's audio files, interviews, article clippings, napkin sketches, just a repository of ideas, thoughts, and philosophies, very similar to that top secret Google Doc I mentioned a little while ago. So by building that document, without really knowing it, I was identifying my own creative and entrepreneurial DNA. In my case, I use that DNA document to create a business plan and to write website copy, to build a brand voice, and uniquely position myself and eventually my agency in a sea of marketing savings. So one might also derive a resume, cover letter, visual branding, online profile copy, and a lot of other things from that DNA document. It's a pretty deep well. At DRM, we look at brands as living things because they literally are. They're made up of people. And every brand has a story, an evolving story that requires new chapters. The advantage of your DNA document is that it's always there to tell your story, where you came from, where you want to go. It's your career North Star, so to speak. Revisit it, add to it, and use it to define your tagline. At DRM, our tagline is, we don't offer solutions because we don't see marketing as a problem. We see marketing as an opportunity to tell the story of your brand. So what's your brand? Put it on your business card. Say, ramen, Red Bull, and Ruby on Rails. That's the difference between a company and a brand. If you effectively and compellingly tell your story, then you become the latter. You're unique and memorable. The same applies to you as you enter the workforce. Potential employers in the creative world tend to possess an innate ability to tell if you're in touch with your own story, your own creative DNA. We like to call it BS detector, and you'll want to avoid setting that up. Luckily, this is the easiest, most natural path to take. It's the path of living your truth. The truth is always easier than a facade. It's been scientifically proven that lying is harder than telling the truth. It's also been scientifically proven that the more you lie, the easier it gets. So I suppose you can take all that with a grain of salt. But the most important thing is the truth's relation to your ultimate happiness. And that's the most important thing here. In my view, the happiest people on earth are generally living their truth. Either that or they're very, very rich. My point is that the key to your personal brand is authenticity. Authenticity is the highest quality gas in your tank because it never, ever runs out. It gives you unlimited miles per gallon. You never have to stop and refill because you are the fuel. Not only that, but authenticity sets the stage for the most kick-ass creative. Now for the pragmatists in the group, we can jump from the philosophical to the tangible. So here's your to-do list. And this pretty much follows any project task that we follow at DRM. Number 1, discover yourself. You know, the whole thing, the DNA, the happiness and whatever. 2, determine your goals. 3, determine your timeline based on those goals. 4 is determine your budget. And I'm not just talking about money. You can get business cards pretty cheaply now and printing and all that good stuff. I'm talking about blood, sweat, and tears. How far and how hard are you willing to push yourself? Number 5, get to work and don't stop until you're proud of and excited by what you see. Number 6, put it out there and see if it works. And if it doesn't, figure out why and put it back out there. Don't give up. Number 7, network. Use all the technology that's at your fingertips. You'll find, especially once you get on mailing lists, that there is no shortage of networking events around town, and about 87% or so of them are held at bars in the warehouse district. So hey, bonus. And you can join the Cleveland Professional 2030 Club. I'm going to give them a plug because they're a great organization. Look them up, Cleveland 2030 Club. It's a great organization that can offer support and a lot of networking opportunities for young professionals in all industries, not just creative. And so it can be great for scoring some freelance work, meeting new young professionals around town. It's a wonderful, wonderful organization, so I would suggest joining. Grab what work you can, freelance, work for cheap, work for free. Do anything to build up a real world portfolio and keep branding yourself. Seek out mentorship along the way. Find people that are or have been where you want to be. Most industry veterans are more than willing to impart some valuable, jaded, and curmudgeonly advice to anybody who's getting into the industry. And if you end up like me, many, many all-nighters and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches later, you might just be living your dream. Because happiness is in the dictionary, but only you can define it. Thanks for your time. Go.